Gracias. Egunon, Cascio. Thank you for having me here. As Jaume said, I'm sorry. Mi castellano no es más bueno, es más itañol, pero comprendo todo. Si la presentación estaba en español, estaba una hora, no 30 minutos. So I'm gonna change to English now. So thanks, Jaume. Today we're gonna speak about how events and brands fuel the global cycling transformation in a destination. So in this case, we will look at the case of the Emilia-Romagna region in Italy, where you will see where we went from having like the first bike hotels in Europe, if not in the world, so from pioneer bike hotels, to arriving and hosting the grande part of the Tour de France last year. Jaume said already something about me. I'm a passionate triathlete and as well a cyclist. I'm an advisor of the Emilia-Romagna Region Tourist Board, nowadays into cycling, and I'm also the co-founder and partner of GM Endurance, which I'll briefly show you after what it is, and the partner of iAmbassador, which is a Dutch digital marketing company, and we work with destinations worldwide to promote tourism. So, as Jaume said, what we are here today, it's because we have a passion in cycling. And I have two passions, which are one tourism, and the other is endurance sports, so triathlon and cycling. And what happened was that during COVID times, you know, where we were stuck at home, as you know, in Italy, as well here in Spain, we have a very strict lockdown. So I thought myself, how can I put together all my passion that I have and knowledge in tourism, in digital communication, and all the hours that I spend training. And then in brackets, I have to say also, how do I optimize all the money that I spend to take part at Ironman races or so on. So I decided to dig more into the cycling tourism sector. And then I decided to found my own company with another partner in Rimini that helps destinations, brands, hotels, and events to market themselves better online, especially via social media on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, in order to attract foreign cyclists. So we only focus on campaigns trying to bring in foreign markets to our clients, and as well for the events about selling bibs. Because nowadays, when you have to get to your audience, everybody is there online. I know this sounds like as an old thing to say, but we still have issues sometimes that we speak with the event organizers or hoteliers that still think that the printed brochure works and helps. You need to get directly to the customer, and you have the luck to have it through social media and online to get to it. But today, I'm not here to speak only about this. I'm here to speak about the Emilia-Romagna region. And so we will see how the region went from like having the first bike hotels, as I said, and then the first associations that were created by hotels only, so by the private sector, joining then together with the public sector, a bit like we saw before from the Navarra in Bici. And then how all of this brought us to come to host global events, like, for example, the grande part of the Tour de France last year, or the UCI Road World Championship in Imola in 2020. But as well, we are also hosting the region Ironman Italy since 2017, which is the biggest Ironman event in the world, is the one in Italy, because it's 3 distances, all together on a weekend, over 5,000 participants. Plus, you have to double the amount considering all the people that come to follow the athletes, the family, and how long they stay in the destination. Just a quick word about the Ironman Italy example. When in 2017 they approached us and we decided to host Ironman Italy in Emilia-Romagna, the first reaction of the hoteliers was no. Because why do we have to keep another week the season open? Why can't we close, when the school starts and we have to continue to stay open for another week for this event, for an event that closes the roads, people complain about it, and it's not going to work. Well, what happened was that when they saw this kind of athletes and travelers and cyclists and tourists coming, and all the people that they bring them with them, and that they stay for 1 week, and that they are high spenders coming from all over the world. Remember, Ironman, in this case in Italy, we have over 80% of participants come from out of Italy. Well, the year after, many, many more hoteliers decided to stay open, and now we created a sort of a triathlon destination within Italy. So for them to extend the season in this way with this event was a huge success, and as well the local community got more involved and feels part of this community. But also it gave back to the local community something about the passion, the endurance, the sports, and now you see that everybody there starts to train or is involved in some sort of sports. So it's also something that lives back to the community. First of all, I don't know how many of you know where Emilia-Romagna is. I see some faces in the public that have been there, but just to give you a quick overview, we are located in the northeastern part of Italy. To say two famous cities, we are like between Venice and Florence, basically, so bordering Tuscany and Venice. And the region, you see, it's quite long and flat. This is because from Rimini, you have one of the most famous Roman roads, the Via Emilia, cutting through, going until Piacenza, going to Milan. And I found out yesterday during our tour in Pamplona that we have a special connection because Pamplona was founded by the Romans as well. And so the region developed on this road. So we have this Via Emilia road where you find the main cities. The region itself, it's splitted in 3 different areas. So in the north, you have the Emilia, visit Emilia, and Emilia, maybe you know it because of the gastronomy. Prosciutto di Parma, Parmigiano Reggiano, aceto balsamico di Modena, pasta, and so on. Then we have the Bologna-Modena destination, because Bologna is the capital city of the region. And then we have the Romagna part, Visit Romagna, which here to compare, I say it's like the Benidorm of Italy. So the Adriatic coast, Rimini, and the Romagna coast is where the tourism in the 60s started, with all hotels, and let's say the mass tourism started. So here you see on this map that we have different bike paths and bike roads. We have over 9,000 kilometers of bike paths, over 20 certified cycle paths from a regional perspective, and over 500 bike-friendly accommodations. What is important when it comes to marketing and communicate, but also give a topic and a theme to the cycle paths and to the region, the 3 areas that I told you about before, all of them have one cycle path that is, let's say, the highlight and the thing that we promote outside of Italy and abroad. One example, in the Emilia, we have the, of course, Food Valley Bike, and this is a very great idea and project, and I heard before you were speaking about Navarra and the gastronomy and how to integrate bike into gastronomy, like Jaume was saying. Food Valley Bike is a project that was born by a cycle club together with a mayor of a small town. So they said, we have amazing food products. We have a lot of cycle paths along the river Po, like the Po River is the biggest river in Italy, which are basically empty. Only a few tractors drive on that and so on. Why don't we create an event, like a cycle tourism event, and they called it Ingorda, so Gordo, because every 5 kilometers you could stop in a factory and taste the products and eat. So you could stop in a Parmigiano Reggiano factory. There is the Barilla factory, you could stop for pasta, the tomato factory for tomatoes, then you have the Parma ham, the culatello, and so on. Seeing that it had a great success, what they decided to do was to basically put signposts and maintain this cycle path. So nowadays we have a 60-kilometer cycle path starting from the square of Parma going until Busseto, which is the town of Giuseppe Verdi. Maybe some of you know him too. And what it does, it brings the cycle traveler along these routes to discover the best what the area has to offer in terms of food in a really slow pace. Like it's completely flat, so no elevation gain. And nowadays we are working a lot with especially North American tour operators to bring their clients there, because this path is rich in history, culture, a lot of castles, but as well good wine and good food. And this is what this kind of traveler likes. There are at the moment not really bike hotels in this area. So what we're doing now is trying to align this part of the region with the southern part of the region. Bologna-Modena, the Ciclovia del Sole, we saw before, you saw that you in Navarra have the Eurovelo 1 and 3. We have the Eurovelo 7 that cuts our region. The Eurovelo 7 is the one running from North Cape until Malta. And what was done here was very smart, because at the end of the decade 2010, so approaching 2020, the Italian railway changed the tracks from the Bologna-Verona line, creating a new line. And so the old one-way track was taken away. So the sediment, like the stones, remained there. So the local administration said, why don't we asphalt it and create a sort of a road connection for the local people, for the inhabitants, to go from town to town and to commute to Bologna to go to work. What happened was then that the original path of the Eurovelo 7 was going through Modena. So when they saw that this cycle path existed, they changed the location of the Eurovelo 7 and they put it on this stretch. The Bologna Tourist Board did a very smart move and registered the Ciclovia del Sole domain and brand. So now when you type in the sun route, Ciclovia del Sole, this is what comes out, only the 60 kilometers, not the entire line from Cape North until Malta. And this is as well a very flat line, but what it opened up for us was to try to finally get all the travelers from Germany that come until the Garda Lake by bike, also with the families, and now they continue on and come until Bologna. So this created the opening also of new markets, of new cycle travelers coming by. Now they're currently working on the phase 2, which is to connect Bologna to Florence with this cycle path. In Romagna, the southern part of the region, there we have something completely different. We saw before also how gravel is nowadays an important part of the cycling and of cycling tourism. So we created a road called Via Romagna, which is the first permanent cycling route in Italy, 463 kilometers long. And it starts from Comacchio, the sea, the province of Ferrara. It goes until the Apennines, goes down all the Apennines, and comes back on the south of Rimini, again on the coast. And this, we are currently promoting it as a not only self-guided bike tour, but also as tours that you can split it in multiple days. So you can do this road in multiple days, and you pass some of the hidden gems of the region, but especially you're on like a gravel paths and secondary roads, which are very less trafficked. So to start about the origins, to give you an idea how this destination became now one of the most important destinations in Italy, but as well in Europe with cycling. In 1998, there were some hotels in Riccione, which is a town 10 kilometers south from Rimini, that saw that some of their German guests started to come there with the car, with the bike. So they said, oh, but why are you coming with the bike? And they said, well, you have amazing bike paths here, and then here, this is the land of Marco Pantani. You know, you spoke before about Indurain, and Marco Pantani was from Cesenatico. And of course, those years were the peak with the battles with Jan Uhrlich, Armstrong, and so on. So all these Germans wanted to come to see where he trains, because that is his training ground. It used to be his training ground. So the hoteliers said, okay, but why don't we start to provide services for these kind of travelers? So they, at the time, they did something that was pioneering in 1998. So they created a bike storage, a repair service. They organized guide tours in German language, and then also in English and French. And they offered also a dedicated post-ride service until 4:30. I know that in Spain it's the usual time to have lunch, but for us it was something really different, especially thinking of the hotels of that area. I told you like a bit the Benidorm example, that there are hotels that were almost copy and paste, offering all the same services. They celebrated 25 years in 2023, and they organized a big party, a big event that you see here, for all the guests, over 500 guests came from all over the world, in one of the towns where they always do the tours. Then on a national level, in the year 2000, so 2 years later, always private hotels, so the private sector, they joined together and they created the Italy Bike Hotels Consortium. So they wanted to put together what are the best bike hotels in Italy, and that set a standard in what a bike hotel is. So to be part of this consortium, you need to have certified that you offer the services that we were saying before, to adapted for the cycling tourist. And what they do also is to take part to travel fairs, to bike fairs, to do online campaigns, media advertising, all to bring, let's say, awareness of the Italian bike hotels. Of course, each hotel has their own website, they do their own marketing strategy, but when it comes about cycling, and together they promote the entire of Italy together. And the Italy Bike Hotels doesn't get a commission, nothing, because it, as I said, it was created by private hoteliers. So what it does, it simply puts in touch the customer, the final customer, directly with the hotels. Of course, the Emilia-Romagna region, being the area where the bike hotels were founded, the government in 2014 said, we want to also be part of this by financing and by giving impulse and helping you guys grow even more. So from 2014, the Terra Bici Consortium was founded, which is basically a public and private joint company, as I said, where there are over 40 hotels specialized in bike tourism, but as well bike services, cafes, and restaurants that are focused on cycling tourism. And for 2025, we had over 500,000 of overnight stays, generating a turnover of 20 million euros. But the important thing is that over 80% of the cyclists were from out of Italy. So what the region does is to promote the destination out of Italy. And I will show you now how we do that. So it started all in 2012 with one of the first things that you do is, of course, to host some media or journalists, specialized media about cycling to try to get awareness of your destination. So from 2012, the region and Terra Bici regularly hosts media trips in order to promote the area and also the events happening there. Then in 2014, they started to do the same with tour operators, international tour operators, so to show them the area and also the services of the bike hotels. In 2015, they started to organize the workshops, where basically the public sector put together the contacts of the tour operators and brought them directly to the hoteliers, so the hoteliers could do meetings one-to-one, B2B, together with these tour operators and organize their business together. In 2018, we launched something that I think is quite interesting, called door-to-door. So basically, it's us physically going to Germany, to the Netherlands, to Belgium, to Denmark, to Scandinavia, to the UK, and knock on the doors not only of the tour operators or the media, but of the cycling associations, the clubs. Going there, speaking with them, presenting them the region, the offer of the bike hotels, and then inviting the representative over to scout the location. And thanks to this action, for us it's also important to kind of evaluate new markets. So every year we add 1 or 2 new markets that we think could be interesting. And so instead of spending money on advertising, getting the awareness first there, we go directly to speak with the final customer to see if there is interest for them to come here. And then in 2023, we held one edition of the Cycle Summit that you saw it mentioned before also in the presentation of Pashi, that helped us to bring even more attention to the destination. Even more tour operators came to our destination and managed to speak with the hoteliers. EMCC is something that I really care about because it's a concept that we created together with my two other partners, and it's the European Media Cycling Contest. So I don't know if you know, but there is yearly held the World Cycling Press Cup. So it's only a cup organized for journalists. But we said, we are in 2020. Nowadays, there are different kinds of media, influencers, Instagrammers, YouTubers, creating great content. But this cannot take part to this event because they are not journalists. They are not recognized as journalists. So we said, why don't we create our own event and link it to the region and link it to an event of the region? So it's already 4 years that we host this annual contest for journalists and media, where we combine this storytelling and racing. But of course, the main aim is to promote the destination, to promote the region. And in 2023, as you see, we had as a special guest with us Bernard Hinault, because in the 2024, we held, as I said, the grand depart of the Tour de France. So we used also Hinault, that was very influential and very famous, as, let's say, our face to promote Emilia-Romagna for the Tour de France. But also what is important is that this event strengthens the international media exposure as well as the relationship with media. Then, speaking about the other events that help the destination to become what it is nowadays, every year we have now the Italian Bike Festival happening in the region, which is the largest bike expo in Italy, and it's becoming one of the largest in the world. It's held every year in September in the Misano World Circuit, so it's also the first time where we do an event in an actual MotoGP circuit. And this is very good because people come and visitors and they test the new bikes directly on the circuit. So there is also a safety aspect involved. And they also organize their cycle tourism event called La Gialla on the Sunday, where all the people can compete, but it's not like a competition from start to end, in order also to change the perspective of the Gran Fondo races, of people like battling from the start, creating sometimes also some danger. They decided to have only one climb of the entire course. That is the only part which is taken the time and then given the award to the fastest person. So you are in a completely safe environment, and it also helps the organizer to, let's say, in a way, also have less responsibilities on what happens to the participants. Another event that we will hold next year is called Velocity. And Velocity is a scientific conference organized by the European Union, by the European Cyclist Federation every year. And it brings together the best advocates and the people that work in the mobility sector, so that are doing the city planning. A lot of people, of course, from the Netherlands, from Belgium, that they help on how to redesign the city for cycling. Rimini has been doing a lot in this way in the past years, and so they won for next year, 2026, the award to host Velocity, and of course we will try to give to this scientific event as well a tourism perspective. This event, you have to consider that there are over 1,600 delegates coming from all over the world, and in 2027 it will go for the first time out of Europe. They will hold it in Japan. So it's a very important event that helps to generate even more awareness on what the region is doing. As said, yearly we host and have hosted major cycling events. The Giro d'Italia, of course, every year we have some stages, and this helps also, of course, with the infrastructure, because, cycling race come and they do the new roads and new itineraries. Then we had the UCI World Championship in 2020 that was, I think, one of the fastest organized championships, because it was during COVID times. It was supposed to be in Switzerland, but they canceled, and in less than a month, we organized it in Emilia-Romagna by also have it happening in the Imola race circuit and the surrounding hills. So that helped a lot also about, the COVID restrictions in place at the time. And then the biggest event and most important for us all was, of course, the grande part of the Tour de France last year, where we had 3 stages in our region. I wanted to show you a study that we did last year together with the University of Parma. We calculated the economic impact of the Tour de France only on the Emilia-Romagna region. The Tour de France last year started from Florence and ended in Turin, involving 3 regions, Tuscany, Emilia-Romagna, and Piemonte, but we only analyzed the parts of the 3 stages that were held in our region. So we calculated how many spectators were on the roads in the region. Then we also took the numbers from ASO, the organizers of the Tour de France, concerning the television, media, social media, all the reach that we had there. But then also what we did, we interviewed all the bike hotels. The bike hotels shared with us all the data about people that were there for the Tour de France. We also spoke with the international tour operators that came on purpose with their groups, with their guests to the Tour de France. And we calculated that the economic impact, basically, there was a return for each euro spent of 24 euros on this event. Just right, we are speaking about when the event was held. What's happening nowadays, because I also cycle every 2 days on the roads where the Tour de France passed by, I usually stop in the bars or local cafes or restaurants, and they tell me, hey, Nick, we had last week 10 Americans came here. It's crazy. We never saw an American here since World War II, unfortunately. But that's a bit the idea and the thing. So there is this long tail that people come to cycle it. So now we are like putting signposts and labels on the roads where the Tour de France came, because people are coming and want to experience and live it too, because they saw about it on TV and, of course, online. So I'm heading towards the conclusion, and I see I have 2 minutes 40 left, so that's perfect. So what I just wanted to close up with is that, as you saw, we went from having local hotels, so a network of private people, of private businesses, to go to a consortium as well, to then the intervention of the public sector to create a region and then also a national network, a bit like you saw before with what Navarra is doing with Navarra in Bici. And then also these major events that we are hosting or we hosted are not for us the arrival point, the finish line. No, they're just helping us to create a permanent legacy together with the final customer. And of course, the key success factors, not only in this sector, but I think in every sector, is that there needs to be collaboration. Collaboration among the businesses, collaboration between the public sector and the private sector, of course with proper investments, but as well with having a long-term vision and not just only a short-term. And then it's very important to be, again, like in every sector, always updated to the latest trends. Also, the cycling sector is changing a lot. We were speaking yesterday at dinner with Enrico, for example, that there were some hotels saying, oh yeah, we are now going to an event, an affair that is called gravel. No, but gravel is the name of a bicycle. Oh, really? So like you also need to be up to date, and also the staff working in the hotel or in the business, in the accommodation, needs also to understand what this word is. So following the latest trends, taking part to events like this, organized today in Navarra, and of course, again, long-term planning. So, grazie, that's a bit from me. I hope it was useful for you. I know that you already implement many of these strategies, but with Jaume and Agnes, they asked me to show and also how we also put into practice many things from over 20 years now.
Gobierno de Navarra.
Nafarroako gobernua.
Navarra, una forma de funcionar.
Nafarroa, gauzak egiteko dugun modua.